Shalom, family. Glory be to God and blessed be the Lamb. We have roosters out there in the front yard. He's joining the audio, but however, I'm sure that my editor is gonna wipe that out, meaning his crow. He does that a lot, broad daylight, and he's still crowing. Anyway, I grew up in the time of newspapers, no internet, newspapers straight to the editorial section. That was back in the 80s. Back in the 80s. Late 70s. 69. In fact, I've been into this since the Vietnam War. I remember images of the helicopters, the huge Huey helicopters flying in on the first TV set that my family had ever owned, and dropping the bodies off, picking the bodies up, flag draped coffins. They don't show you that, and terrified. You don't get to see that part, see, because it's been cleaned up for you. It's been cleaned up for you because your tender little hearts and minds just could not handle it. Imagine the children is what they say. This was their excuse for not showing you these images. But actually, it was all political, just like everything else is in this country. Not one thing, not one facet of American life, from the most impoverished to the richest. And that was people that I could have attacked. I mean, on a political level, and harmed. And I decided not to, for whatever reason. 10 years later, they are banging our drum. And this is how it works. You can't always attack people in their youth, even when they do the most profoundly ignorant things. They're young. Even when they don't understand the purple revolution. But actually, the revolution began when I was in Denver. That's been 2 years ago. Everything was starting to turn purple. You see more and more of the purple in terms of images. Look at what the people on your favorite TV shows are wearing. Purple wasn't there, but what was there was the constant litany of black, red, and gray. Black, red, and gray. You would have thought that was the new huge cult. You could easily refer to the American government as a cult by definition, easily. And I would challenge anyone to say otherwise, because I will bring the receipts. So don't challenge me on it. I will bring the damn receipts. And in the midst of all of this, we are allowing other I don't know what word to use, because at some point you can't. And Dick, and he has the type of attitude that actually works. Don't think about what you said yesterday. Think about what you're going to say today and tomorrow. And so what if they know what you said yesterday and what you're saying today is like contradictory? I was watching a interview with him by a guy named D'Souza. I won't be using his first name. However, here's what gets me, and that he should factor it in to his thinking and his psyche when it comes to American culture and what that means. and then perhaps recalibrate a little bit. And on the other side of him, who he's interviewing, also comes from a culture. That's a good word. Breathe it in, Daryl. That one slipped. It's a respectable word towards an unrespectable man. I don't like it. But anyway, but they're intellectually dishonest. They are intellectually dishonest. If your argument cannot stand on its own two legs, then perhaps you are in the wrong position, or you're making the wrong argument via that position. The problem isn't everyone else. The problem is you and your argument. That is the problem. And the American body politic has been reduced to like a sponge. It soaks up everything. Theoretical. That if you start to tell enough lies consistently, maybe as a strategy, then at first you are conscious of what you're doing. But at some point it becomes almost instinctual. There's no more separation, even in your own head, between what is truth and what is lie. Okay? I firmly believe this. This is the only way I can explain a man's like mad at the folks. Give people the evil eye. Even point your finger at them and bang on them. And they all know exactly what you're doing. You are acting as the mouthpiece for the president. And the more this, anyway, let's stay off. Let's leave that line of thinking alone, because wow, it's too early. It's too early. But that's their job. That's not the prime minister's job, but what he does is tantamount to that. I don't know if he's prime minister of a TikTok or he's the spokesman for it. Right with it. Somebody builds a trap, but this one's easy. Because he's gonna do it again. But what am I talking about? As the word spreads that they're not who they say they are, meaning I can't do them that way. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to focus on them, and not all of them are as evil as him. So I'm going to have to separate the prime minister of TikTok from the rate that you simply start to believe it. But I get confused when you are so contradictory, when you say whatever you have to say, depending on the interviewer and the audience and the needs, you are prepared to say whatever you have to say. That's worse than the presidential spokesman, because they don't outright lie on the president. They got to try to rather than lie, obfuscate. Not lie, obfuscate. Slip the punch. You know what I'm saying? Slip the punch. The things he do operate against his own self-interest and the interests of his people and nation state. And yet he continues to do it. And he has a receptive wing around the world to actually go and speak. And no one calls him on it. No one said something as simple as, but sir, you said just back in, sir, I have it on my laptop. Here's what you said just 3 months ago. No one's going to do that out of respect. Is it for the man or is it for the title? And what capacity reduction is happening? You can call it what you want to. And besides that, it's starting to show on his body. gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight. I got the best health care in the world, but yet weight shifts can literally go from 20 pounds either way in a month. Maybe this is the stress level. Maybe this is the issue of him running from tunnel to tunnel, scared to take off, scared to land. I mean, it has to be stressful as hell, good Lord, thank you. But at any rate, at what point do we shift? Listen, it's like I said a couple of nights ago. They're gonna have to deal with this now. And it's coming in fast, hard, and low. This ain't no curveball. This whole question of who's who, this is not a curveball. If you into baseball, I used to be, but then I drifted to only watching it during the playoffs, and then I just stopped watching it all along. Unless I'm at somebody's house, and this ain't it. This is the one that you're not gonna finesse, and you cannot. There's no way for you to exterminate the victims of the scheme. So again, he was asked about the question of them being the ancient Jews of the biblical text. And, oh yeah, there is no doubt. And I'm looking at him, what's wrong with this dude? Do you not remember what you just said? Our world leaders and our leaders to outright lie to us as if we are a part of their political program. Like we're just characters to be dealt with. And when I say we, you know that I'm really talking about you. How long will this continue? How long will they be given a forum to espouse lies? How long will you listen to them? How long will you know that most of them have received money from the very man or his agent? Maybe if you just go the fuck away. Damn it, damn it. 3 times, and it's like Peter lied 3 times in three words, one behind the other. I used profanity, and I meant not to, but for this entire audio. But this is tough. This is tough. And you know how long this country has tried to avoid the very situation that you now find yourselves. And you know how come it didn't? Because of the United States, what to do. Now, Richard Nixon was president, and he is saying this. And basically, get the motherfuckers away from around me. Now, what happened to Richard Nixon? Shortly after he had said that, Watergate scandal. All you folks in your 60s, late 50s, into politics, you do remember the Watergate scandal. And that started me to thinking. It was a scandal. They had broken into the man's hotel room. I mean, all kinds of shit. And they hounded him. Why the United States shouldn't have trusted him. This is in the late 70s, early 80s. This sentiment and him. What happened? Now look at you. It has become what he was trying to avoid, giving your sovereignty or making your sovereignty subservient to the sovereignty of a tiny country that has hemmed you in politically through your leadership, through policy of the leadership that I'm going to make the sacrifice that day. But imagine this. But what have I said formerly? America has a attention span that's very short. It's not even generations long. I mean, in terms of generational. No, once you hear it, 10, 12 years later, it's like ancient history. But my point is, I had to revisit APAC. And we see, even back in the 70s, but even further than that, you were being warned. You go back this time, remember how we got here. Don't forget, like you normally do. Give it a few news cycles, and it's out of mind, and it's on until the next insightful topic for the news. Whatever we can squeeze the juice out of, and to captivate you. Take control of your imagination and your thought process while you watch this. And we either scare you or move you or